Hello guys, this is Daniel here, and this is officially my first YouTube video, and I'm just gonna be sharing or speaking a lot about my growth journey, which is what my channel is gonna be all about. We are all gonna be growing together as a young person navigating life, um, my discoveries as as someone intentional about his life. Gonna be documenting my journeys on here, my growth journeys, the wisdom I get to learn from books and stuff, which I have implemented in my life. Okay, so today I'm gonna be talking about the tripartite nature of growth. I'm gonna be talking about the tripartite nature of growth, and this is something I've come to realize myself, having been on this journey of personal development for a while. I got to realize that growth has to be three-way. Growth has to be three-dimensional. You have to be for a growth to be effective, for you to be growing effectively, for you to be growing effectively, you have to be intentional about growing. Just like man is a spirit, as most religious people believe, and as I believe as well, and scientifically proven, man has a soul and a body and also a spirit. Man is tripartite in nature. So for you to be growing effectively or in a balanced way, you have to be growing in those three areas of yourself: your spirit, your soul, and your body. So not to sound supernatural, because that's not what I'm all about. Not to sound superstitious or something. So I realized that, okay, so you have to grow in these three areas. So how do you grow in your soul? You grow your soul because most people say that, like, as we all know, the soul is the seat of the intellect and the emotions. So you have to grow. The way you grow in your soul is by investing in knowledge, reading books, emotional intelligence, human psychology, personal development, whatever it is, like even acquiring a new skill. But basically, I would say from my own personal self, it has to do a lot on personal development, reading of books, acquiring a skill and stuff like that. That's how, being intentional about it, that's how you grow in your soul. Then in the body, you have to take exercise. You have to prioritize exercising, be intentional about what you eat, be intentional about when you sleep, be intentional about being hydrated, and and the list goes on and on. So that's now two. And thirdly, you have to also be, that's talking about the spirit now. If you're um, depending on your religion, you have to prioritize meditation, prioritize perhaps prayer. I am a Christian myself, so prioritize prayer, study of your religious material, example the Bible, and you can also here and there add some other religious activities like fasting and stuff like that. So this is how you grow in your spirit. So now looking at it, you can see it is a three-way growth. And for your growth to be effective, for you to maximize, optimize, or get the best out of your growth journey, you have to be intentional about these three. One of the reasons why, because I have a lot of mentors in the area of my soul, people that I admire intellectually, that I follow. I have mentors in the spiritual aspect as well. Then I have mentors when it comes to being physically fit and stuff. So one of the things I've realized is that in some cases, you see, some people tend to be balanced in one area, while the other tend to be imbalanced. That's why you tend to see people who, despite the fact that you can see they are very much fit, they eat healthy, they prioritize what they eat, they're always going to the gym and stuff, but at the back of it, they are depressed because perhaps there is no spiritual growth or emotional growth, because depression could as well be a spiritual thing and as well an emotional thing. If you are not emotionally intelligent, if you don't know how to manage or control your emotions, you might tend to be depressed. So They are physically fit, meanwhile they are lacking on other area, while in some other aspect you could see people who are very skillful, highly knowledgeable, and looking at them, they are obese, or you could tell when to speak, because whenever a man speaks, you could tell, you could tell the details of his life or what his life is made up of. So when they speak, you tend to see the lapses or the loopholes in growth. So as a young person, just like myself, if you want to maximize your growth in the long run, be intentional about this trip. Have a daily schedule. One of these days, I'm going to do a tour in my room. I have a lot of stick notes on the wall, on how on stuff that I have to do to invest in these three aspects of my life, these three aspects of myself: my spirit, my soul, and my body. Talking about the religious, I have the religious aspect. I have my time of prayer, studying of Bible. Talking about the soul, how I take care of my soul. I have because I am still growing. I read 3 books every month, so I have a daily quota of pages I have to read daily. And I have also a couple of videos from my mentors I have to watch. A couple of videos I have to watch from my mentors. And then talking about the body, yes, I have my daily meal plan. I have first thing in the morning, for example, first thing in the morning before every other else I drink, I stay hydrated. I am heavy on hydration. Having realized how much of our body contains water, I'm very intentional about hydrated. I have a quota of water I have to drink when I get up. I have the quota of water I have to drink before I leave the house. So all of this stuff. So I am actually doing the talk. I am not just speaking. I am actually practicing the things I say. So that's it about So growth has to be tripartite. It has to be just like, because it's just like when you are growing a plant. If you leave the plant to just grow with the nutrients acquired from the soil without you being intentional about watering it, when if the plant eventually, if it eventually grows, that is, if it eventually reaches a stage of growth, you might tend to see some loopholes, some gaps, or some gaps in the growth process. Perhaps you could say you could see that the leaf was is kind of yellowish instead of lush green. It is yellowish because there wasn't intentional watering of that plant. So if you focus on one aspect of your life, in the long run, you come to realize that you missed a lot on some other aspect. You missed a lot on some other aspect. So it's better you start now. As a young person, you have all the time to rearrange stores, to re-strategize and stuff like that. One of the mistakes some people make is that they also just focus on the spiritual aspect, and they think that it's going to make up for other. Somehow, that's the thing about religion. You tend to be blinded. You tend to be blinded. They think that perhaps by praying or always being in church, automatically it's going to make up for every other area of their life. Automatically it's going to make up for their intellect, their growth intellectually. It's going to make up for their being fit and stuff like that. And in the long run, they have themselves to blame, because that's not how life works. You need to understand life and know how life works to apply the principles of life. So you don't just focus on the spiritual part. Why focus on your religion, perhaps just meditation, going to the church or the gathering of the religious people and stuff like that at the expense of other areas of your life. In as much as balance is a myth, but you could as well, there is still a common ground to everything. You could still have a common ground. Let it be that, perhaps let it be that every day you touch every area of your life, because that's how you grow intentionally. Because human being is made up of these three things, and if these three things are not growing, you are just dormant. Despite the fact that you wake up every day, you are not moving at all. You are just dormant as a person. You are just not moving. You might wake up every day, you just eat and go back to bed and stuff like that. You are not growing. You are just existing. There's a difference between existing and living the life. You're just existing in this world. You are not actually living the life. So you have to be intentional about these three aspects of your life to actually be the best of yourself. You have to be intentional about these three aspects of your life to be the best of the best you can be, because you actually made the best. You are the only, you are the best of your kind. Whatever your name is, I am Daniel. I am the only Daniel. I am my only type of Daniel. There is no other type of Daniel like I am. I am the only type created. I'm the best of my kind. So yeah, so you have to be intentional about these three aspects to be who you are, to be who you ought to be, and not some other person. Because in the long run, you tend to find yourself in the process of it. Because it is in the long run, you tend to realize that you might not be able to differentiate a mango tree and an orange tree in the growth stage, but in the long run, you tend to realize that, oh wow, because it's now bearing fruit, okay, this is a mango tree, this is an orange tree. So the same thing with yourself, you just have to keep growing. In the long run, you're gonna discover yourself. So that's it, guys, and